episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK Diamantes, his name is Bricky, and why hello, Kirioth. But before we get into all that, if you enjoyed today's episode, head on over to the Patreon and consider supporting us, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. The $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in just the crispiest HD format you can find. This current poster is the Cadian Valley Girl poster. You should get it. And yeah, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky has things to say.
Hey everybody, if you'd like to check out some great merchandise, head on over to orchid8.com and check out all of our posters that you can get, as well as your hoodies, shirts, and so on. In fact, we are actually going to be running a quick sunset soon. We've accumulated quite a few random designs all over the place. And so eventually we're going to be dropping off quite a few of them and doing some last chance stuff, but I'll teach you a bit more about that next week. So for now, just grab your stuff, but eventually we'll have a brand new doodad thing for that. So yeah, check it out, orchid8.com, and read Horus Rising. We're finally getting to that. Horus Rising.
I haven't even started it yet.
We always start near the end of when it's time to record, so we have it fresh in the brain anyway.
That's true. Also, you're not sunsetting anything that is vital to the lore of Adeptus Ridiculous, are you? And then bringing it back 5-6 years later or anything, are you?
I don't know if is that a Destiny joke?
I would never make fun of Bungie.
Oh, no, I was genuinely unsure.
I would never. We must protect these large multi-billion-dollar game corps and their AAA titles.
Okay, so one, shut up. Two, the little guy designs are staying, so if that makes you feel better, then yes.
Okay. Yes, so much better.
Anyway, Mr. graduated from the walls and has... Where are you now, Kirioth?
No, he's still in the walls, dude. He just gets like a porthole out of him.
I think I'm still in there. Maybe I've got what are they called? Where there's like a bigger gap, like a cavity wall. So there's a bit more space. Hang some artwork up in there. Maybe bought from the, maybe going to the Patreon and getting artwork from there. That was a terrible plug. Let's edit that out. Let's not do that.
No, it's staying in.
Wait, hold on. What did we talk about this last time he was here? What's that meme of like the spot above the doorway that is used for nothing?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
We did do that.
We did.
There
was
okay.
suggestions from people as to what to put in there as well.
Okay, good. Okay, all right, good. I was like... I assumed that was being new, but I wasn't.
As long as his spot isn't that like Wallcat is watching you, blah 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 meme, that's fine. That's fine. He can have the little nothing spot above the door.
That's
no Wallcat is watching you. Do your thing.
Do your thing.
Do your thing, Luke.
So, speaking of doing our thing, also, yeah, that's an old meme, DK. That one dated you pretty badly.
What? No way! It's not that old, is it? Like, it's not like I was like, "Oh, really, y'all?" And like, owl.
Ceiling Cat is absolutely that old. Come on.
Oh, it's Ceiling Cat. I called it Wall Cat, but whatever.
So, I mean, it's one of those ones that's like it is dating you a bit, but like, Shai said 20 years. Is it really from 2006?
It can't.
Ow!
Oh
Please
no!
Oh
no!
God!
So, what were you guys' thoughts on
damage?
What are your guys' thoughts on the retro video game consoles in the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3?
Oh, stop
Those
it.
came out in 2006.
Dude, like
those came out in 2006.
Dude, last year I bought a Dreamcast for nostalgia. Are you kidding me with this, like, how do you feel about PS3 and Xbox 360 as retro consoles concept? Stop. Move on. Carry on. What's the topic before I wither into dust?
I've already started. I've lost a leg by this point. Just going to have to get through it before everything follows. So, I want you to imagine something to get the mental images going. Imagine going to work.
No.
But
I'm doing it now.
Already a stretch.
What are we doing now?
I'm doing it now. A horribly tired blue collar worker on his like final shift hearing me say that is like He's like, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, he just finishing his like midnight graveyard shift, toiling away. His back is sore, his mind is numb. 16 tons. What do you get? Listening
Bricky
to Bricky.
YouTuber man. I'm going to work now. It's like I'm actually gonna stab him. Anyway, sorry.
Go ahead.
Continue your spiel. Yeah,
that's actually not a bad way to do it. Imagine you are that blue collar worker. You are going off to, let's say, go down the mines. Except there's a problem. For you to get to the mines, you must travel a not insignificant distance. Except instead of, say, a nice train journey, maybe getting in the car, getting in your pickup truck, driving down the freeway, motorway, wherever you happen to be from, instead, you have to go through mile upon mile of, for instance, dense jungle, filled with plants and animals that have been essentially evolved to absolutely murder literally everything they come into contact with. And you get to do this every single day, day in, day out, and you get to watch a not inconsiderable number of your workmates die to being strangled by vines, or maybe blown off cliffs, or killed by irradiated sandstorms. Where do you think you would be for that to happen on a regular basis?
Catachan.
That sounds like Catachan. Yeah.
Pretty much.
That sounds like Catachan.
Okay. So that's why I was like, this sounds like Catachan, but we've done Catachan before.
Many times.
Many times. So I was like, this can't be it, but that's what it sounds like.
It absolutely sounded like that. As soon as you said, oh yeah, the wildlife is overgrowing and everything is going to kill you, and to get to your house or your workplace, like, that sounds exact. All you need to do is like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a train-sized centipede that's going to eat you too.
Oh yeah, technically it is a failure on the guess. But to be fair, Catachan is an example of what we're going to talk about, because we're going to talk about death worlds.
Oh, just in general? Just death worlds in general?
Just death worlds. Okay.
Oh,
well, we're half right, because Catachan is a death world.
It is a death world. Were you specifically talking about like Catachan in that like opening example, or
it was a little bit of a red herring going on, because Catachan is
son of a bitch.
It's like when you think Death World, I think most people think Catachan, because it is the most well-known, the most famous example.
Or the Krieg homeworld.
Or the Krieg homeworld. But there's also places like Baal, there's Fenris, there's a whole ton of Death Worlds. Nocturne, the homeworld of the Salamanders.
The Lamenter's Headspace.
That too. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Death Worlds in general and some specific examples of them. Catachan being like the main one, I think it's fair to say.
Okay.
Which, by the way, this is just before we get into it. There is something about Catachan that I didn't know until not Catachan. Sorry. Yes, no, it is this. Sorry, I'm getting confused because there's like a bajillion examples of horrendous creatures going around in my brain. I hadn't realised that the barking toads, the Catachan barking toads, which are like one of the creatures that exists on that planet, I knew that they were deadly. I didn't realise they were as insane as they actually are. Because
they're like a thermonuclear warhead. They're like,
I was going to say, those are the ones that
insane.
Those are the ones that blow up when you throw them, right? And it's a big boom.
They blow up if you like sniff too loudly, like a half a mile away from them.
Oh.
Yeah. Whenever they feel threatened, they explode in a cloud of toxins, and it kills anything within a 1 kilometer radius. I had no idea it was that wide a range. I thought it was we lost a guy because he scared a toad. Not we lost a town because a guy scared a toad. I had no idea they were that bad.
Yeah, they're really bad. Did we talk? I feel like I remember having this conversation when we did an episode that someone actually like managed to throw one of these things. Like, they didn't spook it and they picked it up and they just yeeted that thing.
As Shai's put in, there's the lesser Catachan barking toad, and there's the greater barking toad, and the lesser one only kills stuff within the immediate area. So.
Okay. I mean, you won't destroy the city, just, a couple hundred people in the city.
I guess if you could, sneak up on one, maybe tranquilize it or something, and then chuck it as it wakes up, but I wouldn't risk it, personally.
No. Yeah, Shai said that's another false memory. All right. Apparently, I am remembering incorrectly. All right.
I'd like to see it happen, though, to be fair.
I mean, the barking toad is a particular joke involving Emperor text-to-speech. It's a common meme of Vulcan being like, I want to pet this funny toad thing, and then he blows up and dies, And
then he comes back on his respawn.
And then he comes back, because Vulcan dies like 900 times in the series because it's Vulcan, so.
Yep.
So, Death Worlds as a whole, since we've gone straight into the barking toad area of Death Worlds as a whole are absolute hellscapes, essentially, where technically the Imperium doesn't think that, widespread settlement is possible because of the environment or because of, flora and fauna. So Catachan being the example of that, where everything on the planet just wants to kill you. But there are also death worlds that have come about due to vast wars, like Krieg, where most of the planet is just an irradiated wasteland where, radiation storms sweep across and murder everything. There's planets like Nocturne, where there is just constant, volcanic activity, and again, almost impossible to actually have any sort of, long-lived human presence, just down to how hostile the planet is. But in pretty much every case for Death Worlds, there's at least a reason for there to be some human presence, either for mining stuff, or for some sort of resource that the planet's got, maybe there's some sort of, biological thing going on within the plant life that needs to be harvested. And Death Worlds tend to breed some of the most hardy, borderline insane humans that the Imperium has access to. Once again, a prime example being Catachan, where everyone who comes out of that planet is absolutely hard as nails, because if you're not
to be.
Yeah, you have to do that just to survive day to day.
What's I feel like we've probably talked about this, and this is just me forgetting. What's the major export from Catachan? That they feel like, we got to have humans here?
I mean, at this point, it's the people, surely. Let me just double check.
All right. It's just we just want to make hardened soldiers.
Yeah, so I believe it's mainly guardsmen.
Okay. I think it is just the guardsmen. It's the whole reason for Catachan still being settled at this point is purely
to make badass soldiers.
Badasses, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was some sort of magic weed or drug that they made from the plants there, because everything is so toxic.
The magic weed.
Right. I wasn't sure if they had a special boof pack that came specifically from Catachan poison drugs or something, but yeah.
I'm smoking that Catachan pack right now.
Yes.
This shit slew Sanguinius sent me to the Eye of Terror.
Yes, sir, that Catachan boof pack, baby.
Abaddon is scared of this shit, man.
That Catachan pack got me moving like a claymation figure.
Mortarion ain't got shit this strong. Anyway,
Carry save it before this. Save us from the Dracula flow. Save it.
Yeah, as Shai has said, Catachan's only valuable resource is its people. So, as a planet, kind of worthless, but the people who come out of that planet, absolutely top tier. Some of the best, which you gotta be. I'd love the artwork for all Catachan stuff, by the way. Just anything involving that planet and anyone living on it. It's always perfect.
I gotta find
everything that comes from Catachan with the art is just here's here's Rambo.
There we go. There's a particular image that they did in the 9th edition Guard Codex that I saw, and it's one of my favorite Catachan images of all time, because I think it's done by the same artist that does those really kind of gross, hyper detailed Codex arts. Is this guy? And I love it to death, because the Catachan dude on the top left has an arm the size of a tank tread, but he's holding a bolter, which is so comically oversized for even this 6'9" dude.
That's a Space Marines bolter.
You got the lady down on the bottom who's dual wielding rifles, but she's got this giant tube coming out of her stomach, and it's so. And he's actually fighting a bloodletter like a demon of corn. He's just like, oh, sick, and he's blasting away with a bolt. It's so cool.
And he already has a prosthetic leg as well. Like he knows what's going on. Like this is not his first time facing something that awful down. It's probably like another Tuesday. It's like, oh yeah, it's day of the week. It's time to.
If we're gonna do the Predator thing, we're gonna make him. He's got the bleached skull on his backpack on his lower hip. It's so fun.
Yeah.
The day you fought a bloodletter was the most important day of your life, but for me, it was Tuesday.
Do they
Sorry,
all talk like that?
No, that's the
really
M. Bison meme from Street Fighter.
I know. I just I don't
You
know
think
what
the Catachan soldier speaks like that?
That's what I want.
Come
to happen.
on. I was going to say the Catachan speaks in grunts, right?
A Catachan speaks either Australian or Texan. That's the only two I've ever heard the Catachan speak like.
Australian for sure.
They're either Australian or they're like Texas military. You know, it's one of the two.
Fair and valid.
There's no middle ground. None of them. So I mean, what we're saying is none of them sound like the voice that DK just did. Because honestly,
no,
I want at least one of them to be like that. Just
one Catachan soldier that's just like pip, gentlemen. We're going out to the field.
Why have you made it more Partian British? Why have you made
I'm going to take my giant knife and
That's a Morty and Iron Guard. Well, Morty and Iron Guard are very much like the Marine dress blues, so I don't think that necessarily counts. But I can imagine the Pip. The Pip is one of those like random guard regiments made for like a Gaunt's Ghost book that are at odds with the ghosts. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's quiet.
Nobles?
Gaunt, I don't think you know what you're talking about. I know better than you, Mr. Ghost.
It's just some like Imperial Guard general. Wait, what was them in the first Gaunt's? Because the first Gaunt's Ghost book, you had the Vitrian Dragoons, but they had a bit more of wasn't like a Jamaican thing kind of going on with them. That what it was? They had like a certain accent. I don't quite remember, but they had the other group, I don't remember the name. It was the other like the bad guy asshole group, and it's imagining more like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're off topic again.
Steer it back, Kiriath. Steer it back.
So easily now. I've fully corrupted you. So it's. The Death World thing, it's not just the fact that the planets are all horrendous. It's also the fact that they produce such incredible, I don't know what the phrase would be, specimens of humanity. Like, generally speaking, humans from Death Worlds end up being so useful and so hardy, so capable of making, quick decisions and sticking to them that they just become invaluable in terms of things like the Imperial Guard, in terms of the Adeptus RBTs and stuff. So there's Games Workshop has gone into it a fair bit. The fact that a big part of what makes the humans who live on Death Worlds so effective is that every single person has to be able to pull their weight. So no matter how big or small the population, if everyone there isn't doing 100% of the time, one little bit of, lackluster effort or one failure or one refusal to do what needs to be done could lead to just the absolute destruction of whatever settlement they have. And because there's a massive range of threats, the different Death Worlds will produce, still very similar, hardiness, but a different type of hardiness in different humans. So with Catachan as the example, it's the animals and it's the vegetation are just absolutely horrific nightmare things. Yeah. But there's also worlds where, if you step outside of your shelter, you might end up getting absolutely blasted by hurricane winds carrying sand that is as sharp as razors. And it requires a different skill set to be able to plan around and survive that. So every single Death World and every settlement on it has just got the absolute perfect way of dealing with that particular environment, and every single person there has to be able to do their bit to support it. And then if they're not able to, or if something happens where someone can't actually fully, do their job or their role that they had, they will then be supported by other people to try and shore up where that bit would be lacking. So you end up with these people who are incredibly hardy, usually very, very strong. They also are capable of making quick decisions they're quick thinkers, and they also have a kind of impulse to act on it very, very quickly, which kind of might seem reckless, especially compared to a lot of more cautious, like especially with the Imperial Guard, you might see some regiments as being really quite rash compared to others, but it's because they've grown up in a place where if you hesitate, you will probably die instantly. So you've got to pick a course and then follow through straight away.
That's what I was going to say, is like you kind of have to be reckless, because if, like you said, if you wait a split second, whoops, your buddy and his platoon died. So, like, you kind of have to be just like, boom, act. Like, you don't even think, you just move, right?
Yep. And if you make the wrong decision, then you will also die. So it's a case of decisions that they do make. For the ones who survive long enough to maybe end up being, you know, like moved into the Imperial Guard or taken off-world or conscripted or recruited somewhere, those are like the best of the best, because only they will actually survive long enough to be able to be picked up for other roles.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with old soldiers in 40k, because, wow, if you've managed to get old in this universe, chances are...
I mean, well, you know, the old phrase, the beware the old and professional men die young, you know, the usual. Especially
I was trying to remember that quote, because you've said it so many times to me.
Yeah, well, it really encapsulates the Imperial Guard of all factions, you know?
Yeah.
But that is true. A lot of Death World people are a lot less disciplined. They don't much like authority as much, which is pretty a rough point when it comes to the Imperial Guard, because the chain of command is like the most rigid hierarchy. But it's because, like, you know, Catachan, we talked about, they a lot of times commissars will just kind of go missing. Then you get like Gaunt's Ghost, which is, it's like the Tanith they have a very like, what else do we have to lose kind of thing. So they're a little bit sneaky assholes at times. It's neat.
Yeah.
I do love the like commissars going missing and stuff. It really just speaks to we don't have time to deal with this. We're not putting up with this. We know what we can do. We know what we should do, and we're going to do that immediately, whether or not the people above us think it's a good idea. It's just an instinct thing. There is something where when I was going through some of this stuff, there's a quote of, for most of those who grow up on Death Worlds, someone near and dear to them has perished in front of them, in their arms, or in extreme cases, by their own hands. As a result, they tend to be fiercely loyal to the group.
Yeah, fair enough. Is there any sort of like... So if the Imperium's like, okay, we are getting a bunch of guard from Catachan, right? And we know that these Catachan freaks, not terribly big on authority, they're also really tough, and they're probably going to kill the Commissar. Do they like specifically vet them and be like, okay, you're going with this Commissar who is not going to piss you off, and he'll probably listen to you? And like, is there any of that going on when you like get Death World soldiers that are like super hardcore, and you're just like, let's put them in a troop that will just let them run free?
If I had to guess, it's more of a this commissar or a like above commander is a lot more of a, I don't really want to just like, I'm above the next 200 soldiers, for example, but 200 soldiers is more ammo than my bolt pistol can carry. So I definitely, like, there is a level of self-preservation that you do kind of gotta have, right?
Yeah, as a commissar, like, even though you've got the big hat, you've still got to have a brain under the hat.
Yeah, you've got to realize, like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just like the Catachan or God, maybe like a Krieg person, but I don't know, the Indian Dragoon, for example, is like talked back to me, but they're like one of the most loved members. Maybe I shouldn't shoot them and have like all of everyone else hate me for it.
Yeah,
and then murder me in my sleep.
I kind of like the idea that where like Death Worlders are the most hardcore and kind of feared / respected troops due to how resilient and quick acting they are and just how difficult to kill they are, commissars that serve with those regiments that came from Death Worlds and survive and actually end up getting their loyalty, they must be, hands down, the best commissars. They have to be able to navigate that and not be murdered. I mean, you say it in your sleep. I feel like with some of them, like especially like chem dogs, for instance,
broad daylight in front of everybody.
Yeah, it's their world is just a horrific, toxic mess, and they are just a bunch of gangers. So I feel like it wouldn't be a case of, oh, the commissar went missing. It would be the commissar shot one of them, and then, well, we just lost that commissar straight away. We're not really sure which of them actually killed him because they all fired at the same time. So we're not sure which
Please send a more tolerant commissar, please. Also, Chemdogs is such a cool fucking name. Oh my god, I love that.
They look great as well. Hang on, let me get a... they have one of the best, just one of the best looks. It's so good.
Yep. Shy typed this in the chat. Savlar is said to be a world of sinners, heretics, murderers, thieves, and it is claimed that only 1 in 4 born on Savlar knows their father. Ouch. The world is blighted by gang warfare and crime. Only kept in control... Wait. I lost it. Only kept in control by the threat of violence from Imperial authorities. Yeah, I really want to be a commissar in that group. Yeah, no, I'm good. Just send me literally anywhere else. Also, wow, the Chemdogs do look really hardcore.
Yeah, they're great. They're awesome.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
So yeah, as just baseline humans go, they are kind of the peak in terms of resilience and aggression and, fast action, but also some of the more difficult to kind of work with, at least in the Imperial Guard setting. It has also said that things like arbitrators and stuff, so the Adeptus Arbites, they are quite good in those roles as well, because they have the kind of mindset required to just survive being in that position. When you're kind of at risk of death, no matter what decision you make, having someone who has faced that down pretty much every single day since the day they were born, it makes them pretty good at it,
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, if Kirith, are we going to be talking about the Indigan Indigan prefectus?
I'm trying to remember where they come from. Which one?
They are the ones who had a governor overbreed some animals. Are you familiar?
That was it. Yes. There we go. Sorry, I do have this.
Don't like the direction this is going in. I don't like that. It's like, oh, you're going to
spend less time on the internet, DK. Just because you hear the word breed, it doesn't mean it's anything.
No.
bad.
Not. It's not the breed. It's the overbreeding part that worries me.
Oh, don't worry. I tell you what.
Overbreeding animals, and it's like, oh yeah, are we going to talk about this Death World thing? And it's like, oh no. I don't.
So we've talked about it before, but okay. So that was one of the things I was thinking about is the Indigan prefects. They would be, very. It's like, oh god, we're fighting the Nids, and these guys are like, oh, big bugs, please, please,
really.
So Kirioth will explain.
Don't care.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
This is probably a good a good sort of segue into talking about some of the specific death worlds and sort of how some of them came about. Some of them are just like that. They, the Imperium just arrived and went, wow, this is a hellhole. It's a real shame that there's stuff we need on it, because otherwise we would not even bother touching this place. But some of them are also man-made. So Indiga is a death world, but it used to be what's referred to as a menagerie world. Which, by the way, one of my favorite little tidbits here is the fact that there is a tourist board on Indiga, which I don't know why that makes me laugh but I think just in the context of 40k, there being a tourist board for any planet just seems
Warhammer
ridiculous.
Tourism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense for pleasure worlds and stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it was a menagerie world, so just a whole world full of interesting and fascinating creatures, except there was an issue, because there is a guy who's in charge, Imperial Commander Constantine Principe Argoy, say that quickly. He used a lot of Indiga's wealth, which came from mining, so it was a mining world for a bit. And he used a lot of the wealth from the mining and the mineral wealth of the planet to just buy pairs of every dangerous animal and creature that he could find across, like, pretty much just the entire Ultima Segmentum. So if he heard of a horrific creature that was prone to ripping people's heads off, he'd go, yes, get me a breeding pair of those. And he would have
he was
shipped.
The main villain of a modern-day Jurassic Park movie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And I'm assuming what happened was exactly what you think happened, and all of the beasts went crazy, and it became a death world because, well, now the planet is teeming with these absolutely horrendous beasts that are now breeding en masse, making even more crazily evolved killing machines, and you just, it's awful.
Wouldn't you know it? You are exactly right.
No way!
100%.
Who could have seen this coming?
Who could have seen it coming? It's almost like it was destined to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a massive earthquake, and the zoos where the animals were being kept, like, crumbled and fell apart. The animals all then escaped into the wild. They started breeding together, and they just became gigantic, horrendous death monsters that turned Indiga into a man-made death world. And
so Indiga is scratched off of the Michelin tourism guide now. Don't visit here. It's not worth it anymore.
You say that, but there's two things I really like about this. Firstly, they went full what's it called? Mortal Engines. Did you see that film?
Nope. I was about to say they had to put all their cities on wheels.
Yep.
Really? Did they just have like big walking cities?
They have to constantly move their cities around to avoid the creatures that escaped from the zoo and then ended up interbreeding and becoming, horrific monstrosities. So they went full Mortal Engines and put their cities on either wheels or like walking around so that they don't stay in one place.
Oh, no. I mean, that sucks about the animals, but like I love like the walking city motif, like the Howl's Moving Castle type shtick. Oh, I love that.
It's really cool. It's just a shame how they had to do it.
Yeah, it's a shame about the monsters, but
Howl's Moving Castle is a hilarious concept because that's like a moving home. We're talking like
a city
like
version
London.
Of that.
Like London on treads,
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure what else to like reference to properly get my point across, because like Howl's Moving Castle is the only like moving structure aside from like the walking citadel like knights and stuff. But yeah, I love that motif of like the walking city. I love that shit.
So they got to move everything around. They do also have the Indigan prefects. I think it is prefects, isn't it? I always stumble on that word. And they have to hunt down the monsters because they have to do that to make the planet in any way habitable, even with the cities constantly moving location. Mm-hmm. But there is a silver lining to all of this, because with all of this going on, the Indigan Xeno Safari Tourist Board still advertises.
No way!
And they promote safaris on the Death World to the rest of the Imperium.
No way! Even for $40K, you cannot be telling me they have safari tourism trips to go see the bloodthirsty Xenos that make the cities move!
Abelard? Book me one ticket to Indiga. I mean, well, you gotta think about every stereotype of 40K is out there. So if you have an incredibly rich planetary governor who just wants to visit and see like a mountain that eats other mountains, like why not?
I mean, I guess that just seems so. Well, I get. Hey, it's 40K, right? I guess it's not that out of bounds, really.
There is a caveat to this, though. There is a caveat. So apparently, the last astropath message that the board sent was filled with garbled screaming and visions of broken cages. So they are advertising, but how well it's going, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you know what you're getting. That is an advertisement. It's like, hey, understand what you're buying yourself into, right? So
yeah, yes. So
no false advertising there.
you know what you're in for. Yeah, Shai's taking the quote. It was on the Warhammer 40, like the Warhammer community site, which is that we had the Indiga Xeno Safari Tourist board lined up as a sponsor for today, and they've totally ghosted us. All we've received is an astropathic communication filled with garbled screaming and visions of broken cages. Clearly a prank call. So,
Jesus. All right. Okay. Cool.
I absolutely love that. It's great. So something else, like we've mentioned Catachan. We won't go through all of those because like you guys have talked about Catachan plenty before.
Yeah, everybody knows about Catachan, right?
Yeah, everyone knows about Catachan. Something that I hadn't realised until looking into this was I already knew Fenris was a death world, but I didn't realise that they got into quite so much like detail of like how much weird stuff there is on Fenris. So
Fenris is the Space Wolves place,
yes,
right?
Space Wolves' home world. Very icy, very cold, like lots of
monsters and stuff, and yeah.
There's loads of monsters on Fenris, and I didn't realise they'd had quite like they've obviously had fun doing quite an exhaustive list of the ones that are most likely to mess you up. But there's a couple of things that stand out. Firstly, we know what Fenris is like. We know the kind of overall climate. We know that, you know, there's a wolf/Viking motif going on, a bit more wolf than anything else these days, but they absolutely love putting the words frost and ice in front of everything.
What a shocker. Looking at the planet, I would have never guessed that they really leaned into the frost stuff.
Yeah.
Can you guess what else the Space Wolves put in front of a lot of their stuff?
Spears? A lot of Viking stuffs?
No, I was curious. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know the joke I was getting at, right?
Oh,
I probably do. It's wolf, or it's ice, or it's ice wolf, or there is occasional. To be fair, there is fang.
Sorry.
They do like fangs as well.
They do like fang. Isn't the name of the main center there is called the Fang, isn't it?
Yes, they live in the fang.
It is.
I got to be honest, this is a random tangent aside, but the Battlefleet Gothic 2 video game has a Fall of Cadia opening cutscene, and there's a Space Wolf like battle commander, and he just really sells the role. He really sells like the we sing for the All Father of song and stuff, and it's like, oh damn, he's really doing it. It's good.
This is completely unrelated, but I need to be constantly reminded of things like this. What Legion number is the Space Wolves?
Oh shit, 6, I think. Is it 6?
Is it? I don't know.
I can't.
That's why I'm asking.
Oh yeah, okay, it is 6. Okay, yeah,
it's 6. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
Okay.
I'm trying to commit these things to memory. Okay, I'm trying. I got Legion 1 is the Dark Angels, 2 and 11 gone, and then at 3 I'm just like, I don't remember.
I mean, to be honest, I tend to need to like look it up before like if it's going to come up, I need to know in advance to like recommit it to memory because it constantly gets like shoved out of my brain by other things, and then I have to go, okay, no, let me look at the list again, and then once I've looked at it, I'm generally okay. But yeah, I mean, it's
anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to side rail this. It's just
no, it's fine.
Obviously, I don't remember these things very well.
You'll learn one day, DK.
I know the 8th Legion now, right? It's the 8th and the 14th. I know pretty well.
Hammered into you whether you like it or not. So there's a few like, frankly, even, you know, it's 40k, so there's obviously some insane creatures and stuff on Fenris, but a couple of highlights. There's a lot of frost things. There's frost mastodon. There's a frost wolf and a frost lion. You got to get frost in there as much as possible. Mm-hmm. There's also ice whales and ice worms. Two things that really stand out. Firstly, ice trolls. There's just fully like fantasy-esque trolls on Fenris, which is really fun. There's also kraken. You got to have krakens on Fenris.
Oh, an ice kraken. Okay.
You also get sea dragons, which are basically just, you've guessed it, dragons, but under the sea.
Yep.
And my absolute favourite thing that you can find on Fenris, and this is legitimately a thing that they've said lives there, wrath badgers.
Did you say wrath badgers? Like
yes,
badger.
Yeah.
Here comes the snake?
Yep. Pretty much. What they've done is they just decided to put honey badgers on Fenris, but make them more angry and more violent.
Let's go. Yeah, I was going to say, how does nobody talk about that ancient meme? Like, I just pulled the Badger song out from, like, I don't, yeah, anyway, go ahead.
I find this so humorous because everyone's like, Brookie is in his 20s, but he has the brain of an old man. But then you, like, say things like this, and it just, like, throws me.
Well, I'm actually old, though.
Yeah.
I'm actually old.
Then why do you act the way that you do?
It's copium.
That's fair. All right, continue.
I don't want to be old. I want to be a Zoomer, man.
I want to be a hip.
I want
my
to be young.
skibbity riz.
Am I not amusing to you, young people?
Am I?
Do I not amuse you? Are you not entertained?
Me throwing peanuts into the DK cage. Ah, look at him. He's coping. Keep going.
I'm just a dancing monkey. Throw money at me, please.
All right, let's.
It's well known that memes keep you young. That's what they're for.
I don't think they do, but go ahead.
No, they don't. If anything, they age you prematurely, I think. Yeah. So we do also need to talk about, there is a Death World that was made, I was going to say made famous, but it was in the Horus Heresy series. Now, we won't go fully into, like, the plot side of things, but it is one of the more, like, brutal worlds, which is a world called Murder, which was named
sorry, what?
Yeah, there's a world called Murder.
I'm guessing this is not on the Xeno tourist board. I'm guessing this isn't on the Michelin tourist guide. Oh, come visit our wonderful, lush green world of murder. I'm guessing that's not on the list.
No, it's not on it. It was given that name because the Space Marines who landed on it, and I'm keeping this vague for when you get to the book, so it's not like, spoiling anything. But effectively, the Space Marines that landed on this planet sent a transmission back to the fleet, and the transmission ended with, "This world is murder." And if you're getting that from Space Marines, you know it's bad. You know it's not great.
Wow.
So the planet itself, like, suffers from massive atmospheric turbulence. So trying to land on said planet means that shuttles just get scattered and separated. Mm-hmm. Then when you do land, there are, like, insane structures that look like trees, but are made of rock. And frequently, I say frequently, pretty much as soon as a second force arrives, there's bodies all over those trees, impaled on them. And the main issue, it's not just the trees and the turbulence, the main issue is that the planet is full of a species that was named the megarachnids.
Oh, nice! Like, are we talking? It looks, from the picture Shy posted, it looks like giant spiders. But immediately I was like, "Is that a Nid planet? Like, what the?"
I wasn't sure if it was like a Nid seeded planet, but the Nids just didn't. We just didn't know what Nids were yet.
There's a few things that kind of reference the idea that, like, the Adeptus Mechanicus reckon that quite a few Death Worlds are effectively places that the Tyranids seeded, but then never actually went back to. So the stuff that's there either evolved or devolved or became separated from the hive mind and ended up becoming
its own species,
something else. Yeah. The megarachnids definitely have a bit of a Tyranid vibe, but they have legs that can just pierce through power armor. They can sever Space Marines in half. They have flying variants that come in and grab you and chuck you onto these trees and just let you lie there all impaled and stuff.
Yum.
It's easily one of the, like, most horrific worlds that I think Games Workshop has put, like, a load of time into. It's a really good part of that book, and it's a really, really good example of a Death World, just because of the immediate landing and then just straight away finding out that everything about this planet is 100% there to kill you dead.
So I appreciate Shy understanding me well enough to say it's like the Rachni, because I get that instantly. I understand. I appreciate
Did you kill their brood mother? Did you? Did you
Of course
do
I
it?
Of course I didn't.
Good. Okay, I was gonna say if you did, you're a real son of a bitch.
I mean, I did like a Renegade playthrough at one.
Well, sure,
point,
yeah.
but,
Eventually, you want to see all the options, but when you first come across it, right? Like
Renegade in like Mass Effect 1 is just like a terrible, terrible shepherd, and Renegade in Mass Effect 3 is like a war criminal. Only Mass Effect 2 has a good Renegade where you're like genuinely just kind of a
you're sticking it to Cerberus and the man.
Yeah, it's different. Anyway. Okay, because they really did look like Nids. Like that looks like a version of like a Ravener or something.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
But so wait, they sent this what Space Marine chapter? It's just unnamed Space Marine chapter, I'm assuming.
So there's 2 chapters that went, but I was being very vague about it. But yeah, there's one of them. Appropriated a severed megarachnid's claw as a second sword, but its edge was so keen that he cut his hand just by holding it in his ceramite gauntlet.
Whoa!
So not even like barehanded, it cut through his armor in his
just
hand.
by holding it.
Just by holding it.
Holy sh! That's a sharp knife.
Absolutely horrendous. It's great. I love them. They're so good. They're really, really nasty. So it's not all all like that simple though. There are also other ones that have a bit of kind of mystery to them. So there is a death world called Malmar, which is just on the edge of the Eye of Terror. And this one is one of the weirder ones. So this shows up in I believe it's the 7th edition of the Dark Angels Codex. And on Malmar, there are these like pearls, black pearls, that the Dark Angels interrogator chaplains use to show that they've caused a fallen angel to repent. So they have this specific thing.
I forget the name of the black pearls.
I remember talking about these. Yeah.
Yes, I know Asmodai has a bunch on his
he's like covered in them, right?
Stick. Yeah. But that's like Asmodai has like 8. Which is like insane or something, because you don't find that many fallen.
Yeah, you used to not find that many, and then the Son of the Forest happened, and look, they're everywhere.
Zabriel, my beloved, greatest goddamn character.
Hell yeah, brother. Go ahead, Kieran.
Oh god, that artwork's so good. Sorry, I got distracted by it. So
that's okay.
The world itself is insanely dangerous because the pearls that they use, they're only from that one world. You can only find them in the oceans. The pearls are on a razor reef, which, the name kind of suggests don't go anywhere near that. Mm-hmm. And the planet itself and the oceans on that planet are just absolutely hammered by storms constantly. And in the oceans themselves, there are super predators the size of strike cruisers.
Wow. Just these giant like whale predator things.
They're like arthropod ones. So they're like it's gross. I'm trying to think of the best. So you got like kind
a
of
warship sized arthropod.
Yeah, so you got like kind of segmented insectoid. It's
my day is ruined.
It's
dude.
gross.
Oh god. Okay, keep going.
So you get to dodge all of that, trying to get yourself a nice pearl to show that you've done the thing. Yeah, Strike Cruiser is 3 miles long.
So I don't remember if we talked about this in the Dark Angel episode, but let's say you find a fallen and you're just like, "Yep, got him." Do you have to go farm the pearl yourself, or is there like a stockpile of these things where they just kind of hand you one after you've done it?
So you have to go and get them yourself, basically.
Okay.
So a newly promoted interrogator chaplain goes to collect some, and then it's stored in their like recluse yam in the hope that one day they'll take it back.
Right. But like after you get like one of the fallen, they're like, "Oh, congratulations on getting the fallen. Here's your token." They actually have like a storeroom that's kind of like full of them.
Yes.
And they constantly torture them for information that they may or may not have because the Dark Angels are weird.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not part of your ritual that you specifically have to go and get it after you do the thing.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and yes, so as I'd forgotten this, but actually, Shy, it said that those who travel to Malmö must face their own darkest temptations, a test of will that makes all other threats on the Death World pale in comparison. So
That's a lofty statement. Like
it's pretty high up there.
They have 3 mile long arthropods that want to eat you.
Yeah, yeah. But there is something worse somehow.
Yeah, it's you. You're worse. You're the worst thing. Your temptations are worse than. Okay, all right, cool. Yep, Death World for sure. Checks out. Fitting.
It is a proper and then it gets worse, which 40K is really good at. But it really takes a left turn because it's like, here's all the normal horror, and then you have your own existential ones as well. Great.
I really enjoy the fact that there is Death Worlds and Demon Worlds, and the only difference is whether or not chaos is involved. But generally, life on it is roughly the same. I mean, it's not actually roughly the same, but it's really bad.
The danger level is the same. It's just one has chaos on it.
I like the Demon World is obviously meant to torture and do all these kind of things. Obviously, there is a difference, but I was thinking about that one world that you mentioned. Was it the Slanesh world where you go there and you're tortured by your own mind or something? I'm trying to remember how that one went.
I do vaguely remember hearing something about that. Yeah.
What was the name of it? But yes, there is one like that where you're chased by your own nightmares and they crawl. It's like
and they crawl out of It's like a never-ending nightmare thing.
The planet is a big lad, and then the stuff crawls out of its paws and chases you.
Oh yeah,
until it gets you, and then it happens again and again. The next and
you're reborn out of its nose or something.
Yeah, you crawl out of its
infinitely.
eye socket or something. I can't remember exactly, but it's that sort of thing.
All right, Shai's comment here is hilarious to me. It's designation is, quote, this place is unfit for human life, but the Imperium's case is, quote, this place is unfit for human life. However, which is pretty correct when you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
However, we need something here. So,
however, that adamantium rock there is real special.
Yeah, we could really use the resources.
In the case of one of them, the people coming off there are just top tier. We need more of those, so we'll just let them carry on.
The greatest export is Rambo.
They definitely wouldn't, would they? They'd be like, do you want to live somewhere nicer? No. We're not leaving. Why would we leave here? This is great. That is basically Catachan, isn't it? It's just, we don't want to go anywhere. We want to stay here because have you seen what we look like when we leave? We are the best of the best. Get out of here or we'll shoot you.
Yeah, they're kind of like orcs on Catachan, where they're actually having a grand old time hunting everything, right?
Yeah, the closest to orcs.
Yeah.
So, mentioning a planet that's actually a big lad has reminded me there is one that has got very little in the way of any sort of full information that I could find. But it was just the name of it just stood out to me. So there is a planet called Croatoa, which
is there really a planet called Croatoa?
Yeah. It's a bit on the nose. It was in the 5th and 6th edition rulebooks.
Is there a lost civilization there by any chance?
The thing is, all I could find is that the planet itself...
Is there a colony of Roanoke that fled there by any chance?
All I could find is that the planet seems to be its own living organism. So the name has seemingly got very little to do with what direction they went for it, but I was just looking through all the different death worlds, and I went, Croatoa? Really? Is that okay? Sure.
Yeah.
But they didn't go the way I thought they'd go. I was kind of hoping that they would just fully copy that, but no.
Oh well, it is what it is.
There is also we mentioned Krieg as well. So Krieg was
irradiated
quite
to death.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say it was previously quite a nice hive world, but I think that's an oxymoron. I don't think you can have a nice hive world.
Hive world. Yeah.
A very successful hive world. I think it's probably very prosperous. So maybe that's the best way to put it. But slight issue in that at one point the rulers decided to go against the Imperium, and it led to a massive civil war, and a huge chunk of the planet ended up being an irradiated hellhole, and it has become a man-made death world. But on the upside, even though the planet is borderline self-annihilated, we do have the death core of Krieg. So, swings and roundabouts, silver linings. The planet is awful, but we do now have... The planet is literally just full of toxic awful. That means that you just can't go to most of it. It's just completely uninhabitable. There's just so much toxicity in the air, and there's radiation storms. But, we do now have the death core of Krieg. So it's not all bad.
Oh my God, Shai. Look at that. Oh, I can't wait. I'm finally getting a vacation from my deployment. I get to finally visit Gray.
I was going to say, welcome to Planet Brown.
So I can't wait to go to the lovely irradiated wastes of Gray. And then check out the spires of Orange.
Gray, yeah. Look at all that dirt. I wonder if they love to shovel things on Krieg. Shovel. Krieg, shovel. Did you know that Kriegs have shovels and they like to dig trenches? Shovel, trench, Krieg. Sorry. I feel like that's like, you have to.
You see, you've gone too far with it now. You see,
you have to.
I agree that the shovel meme is dumb, but now you've put it too far in the other direction. Now I'm angry with you regardless.
Yes! Let's go! Mission accomplished. It only took me 4 years? Let's go.
I feel like that's happened before.
Mission accomplished.
I mean, it's unfortunate though too, because Krieg did come out with a new kill team box, and their models are actually just lovely. They look just great.
That's true. They do.
They're really fun. Plus, if you're a Kriegsman, you're so dour. You've got such a grim demeanor. Because what do they call that? They call the cult of sacrifice in a way. They're very much it's we need to send a regiment to this horrible death world covered in God knows what. And it's going to really ruin the troops' morale from everyone else. But the Kriegsmen never complain about anything because they have such a guilt trip that they just kind of will operate incredibly well in any horrible environment. I'm gonna read this. Sycorax. Population approximately 360,000. A planet riven with psychic storms. Any psychers on the planet's surface act as a literal lightning rod. The psyker will need to wield his talents to bend the storm around himself or die. An Adeptus Astrotelepathica training facility has been installed on this planet to take advantage of the extreme environment.
Wow.
What a lovely day it is today. It's shot with psychic lightning and explodes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow. Unfit for human life. However, it would make a great training facility for psychers. Yeah, but to be fair, if you come off that planet, you are a crazy psyker, though, right? Because you are literally bending lightning to go around you just on instinct. So that's pretty poggers, as the kids say.
I love how completely banal it starts out. Because of it just saying Adeptus Astrotelepathica training planet. It's oh, okay, well, how exciting could that possibly be? Any psychers act as a lightning rod. It starts out as it's just going to be a bunch of people sat there learning how to use boring psychic powers. It's just going to be really dull. No. If you don't get real good at controlling that, you will be burnt alive by lightning straight away. Let's go. It's so hardcore.
That is
so good.
That's obviously the export of that planet is psychers.
It's great. Okay, let's do one last death planet, because this was completely news to me, because I haven't really kept up that much for the RPG stuff. So there's a full-on TTRPG. I think there's a couple of different ones now. You've got Wrath and Glory. There's also Dark Heresy as well. 40k source books for playing tabletop games.
I'm gonna be honest, since we were talking Warhammer, you're I haven't been keeping up with the RPGs. I'm there's a planet for rocket-propelled grenades? What?
What the fuck, DK? What the hell?
It's a planet where they just fall out of the sky with the...
What do you mean?
Hell? And I'm so JRPG coded too. I don't know why my brain immediately went to the thing.
The ultimate man-made death world. It constantly rains grenades.
Hey, if the Alpha Legion were able to make them all rain snakes, then we can do that too.
Hell yeah! Grenade rain. Go ahead. Sorry.
Unfortunately, this isn't from the rocket-propelled grenade book, Dark Heresy, but it is from the role-playing game. There is a world called Fedrid, where I guess in a way, it could be seen as maybe like Catachan light, sort of, but there is just so many...
So it's just a jungle.
it's still got awful things in it, just of a slightly different flavour. So it's a forest world as opposed to a jungle world. But they have got flesh-boring rot worms.
Ow.
So you could get one of those. There's also like these little like lurking creatures called pit biles that hide sort of under the soil with snapping jaws that will just grab onto you. They also have thornback reptiles which can grow to be the size of Imperial Guard tanks.
Oh,
which
great.
Which is great. There are some predators that would actually be capable of eating a Land Raider whole. Not even in pieces, just a whole Land Raider.
Just snake that thing and just...
Yeah, just fully down it. There's tree jumpers, which are 6-limbed sort of insectoid creatures the size of an adult man, but they live in like the canopy of the trees and will just drop on you and just take you out immediately.
Oh man, alien drop koalas, let's go!
This one really is Australia. Then the worst one is the Savak, or the Black Death, which is a massive animal that can get tens of meters in length, which is capable of just being completely still and totally camouflaged as a dead or petrified tree until their prey gets close, at which point their carapace opens up and they have a bunch of like saw-toothed tentacles and tendrils, poisoned barbs, and like beaked jaws like you find on like an octopus, and it will just snatch, grab, and then close you up and munch you down.
Oh, great. That's cool. That's, okay. Lovely.
Oh, and they also have blood wolves. So, yeah, great. Lovely planet. Fantastic.
Blood wolves? I'm assuming this... What makes it a blood wolf exactly? Just because it, like, drinks your blood?
So you see, DK, when a blood angel and a space wolf love each other very much...
There's the next poster.
I was going to say, posterize that, Shy. Posterize that shit. Do it. He put that idea out in the ether, Shy. We have to monetize it immediately.
Why am I the one saying no to the money? Why am I the one telling you not to?
Yeah, do it. Ship it. Not like that. I mean, like, ship the poster. Don't ship the blood angel and the space wolf. Just ship the poster.
How dare you, Shy? That's not something I've chosen. It's something that just happened. Anyway, actual rules for Death World GW came up with. That's kind of fun. I'm curious about that. All right, let's see the guy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is some 6th edition looking stuff.
Yeah. This is older.
Indigenous hazards. Self-detonating fauna. Carnivorous flora. The swarm. Wow. Deadly spores. Indigenous beasts. Lasher nests. Environmental hazards. Flay storm. The razor hail pelts down with such a fury it flays skin from the bone. All non-vehicle units are treated as being in difficult terrain for this term. That's fun.
Oh, Flaystorm is crazy.
Suffocation, rain of vitriol, which is just acid rain.
Mm-hmm.
Hellscape hazards. We've got Haven of Saint. Oh, that's safety. Meteor strike, gravitic anomaly, ghastly hallucinations. Tectonic shifts,
just meteor storms.
You're going to skip over storms, burning skies? The skies themselves burst into flame. What?
All units that enter play as Deep Strike this turn. Okay, so it's all dangerous terrain. AKA, I rolled my Land Raider over a crater for half an inch, and I rolled a 1, and now my Land Raider doesn't work anymore. AKA, you think you want to go back to 7th edition because you're upset about like some Eldar being too good in 10th, but you don't know what you're asking for.
Yeah, you actually don't want that. You
actually have no idea what you're asking for.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
Yeah, so that's actually hilarious though. I love that.
Those are great names and descriptions, yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I wonder if that's got to be like easily adapted to the current edition.
I mean, for the most part, but it's the current edition is so much more how you say like streamlined that I feel like it would create, because people didn't care as much if you roll bad in like 7th and stuff because it was so much more random. Now I feel like, the lasher tendrils have forced my unit to half move is like actually crippling and maybe costs you the game.
Yeah, maybe it might be a bit harsher now.
But things are different now. It's played differently, but it is a fun concept.
Okay,
I reckon we'll do an honorable mention to because we didn't fully go through them. Baal and Caliban and Nocturne, all three of those death worlds. Also Pythos, which you will get to if you're reading through the Horus Heresy. Blood Angels are stored in balls.
Blood Angels are stored in the balls. Let's go. Just like the microplastics.
Is stored in the ball.
Just like the microplastics that all people have in their balls.
And on that note, I feel like that's a good place to leave it. And if you're
really, you're gonna leave it at microplastics are in the balls?
No, blood angels are stored in the ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay.
And we've been recording this on our own personal death world, so it's all thematic and it all comes around in the end.
I can't wait for the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk future where the pollution has taken over the entirety of the world and we're all servitorized. Me sending a zip bomb to DK's Neuralink because he was mean to me in an episode of Adric.
Wow, man, I don't think there's this podcast wouldn't have lasted very long if you could do that, though. So I'm glad that future hasn't come to be.
Me sending a pentabyte zip bomb directly to DK's brain.
Wait a minute, I'd have to have a brain before you can ship a virus to my brain, so checkmate, loser.
That's why I'm sending a pentabyte instead of a terabyte. I'm filling in all the extra space.
Oh, man, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it is. That's the whole point.
Man.
Anyway,
Shit.
I like Death Worlds a lot. I feel like you could just do a really good job. I think one of the fun things about Death Worlds and one of the reasons they're so enjoyable is that they're very easy to incorporate into your own fan-made kind of Imperial Guard regiment or theories.
Oh, yeah.
You can just
definitely.
What's wrong with this world? It's like, well, it rains acid and then the acid comes alive and chews off your shoes. So I'm playing as the fantastic Imperial Guard regiment known as the Iron Boots because they don't want their shoes to be chewed off anymore. I don't know. Just something
shocking
like
that Bricky goes right to the feet for his custom
man, fuck
made.
You, man. Fuck you. It's unrelated, you shit lord.
Immediately goes to, the acid chewed off their shoes and left their feetsies all alone.
No,
better wear the iron boots to protect my little toes.
Die. Shy. Kill him. Mods. Send him into the Indiga tourism board. and have him learn about the creatures.
Please just end the episode there. Somewhere in there.